Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today I want to do the next installment in my Diversify Your Fantasy reading series. This is going to be the fourth video I'm doing on this. I have already done 3 other ones, and the difference between this one and the other 3 is that I focused those on specific groups of people, like groups of authors that we should all read from more in the fantasy realm. And in this video we're going to do it a little bit differently, because today I want to recommend to you some standalone novels, because I think sometimes we just need like something in between, you know what I mean? We don't want to start like a big old series. We just want a book that can stand on its own and be a complete story. So I thought, you know, especially if you try to branch out a little bit in your reading, standalones can be a great place to go. So that is what we're going to talk about today. And I say diversify your reading because all of these standalones that I'm going to mention today are written by authors that are basically not white males. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So buckle in, I have 8 great recommendations for you. So I just said, you know, you don't want to start a new big project. So the first books I'm going to recommend to you kind of break with that, because they are very big books. Very big books. And the first one is also a little bit underrated, and that is The Queens of Innis, Lear by Tessa Gratton. And this book does have a sequel, so that's also a little bit of a caveat I have, that not all of these books are complete standalones, but the stories in them are completely contained. You can read them as standalones, you don't need the other books. And The Queens of Innis Lear is a retelling of King Lear. So we are looking at a magical world that is very much inspired by England, and we do have a king, and he has 3 daughters, and he asks his daughters to kind of show how much they love him, and the first 2 daughters like shower him with flattery, while the 3rd daughter doesn't really do that. She wants to be sincere in her like admiration for her father, and that's just not enough for him. He is looking for the overwhelming flattery, and so that kind of pushes things over the edge, sets things into motions between these 3 daughters, and we see kind of like how it all plays out. The 3 daughters are all very different in their characters, in their kind of political scheming, and it's just a very fascinating story to follow. It also has this like magical folklore element that was really beautiful to read about, and the world that is created in this book is just fantastic. Now, I gotta say, this is a very slow story, and you have to be prepared kind of to really spend some time with these characters. But as I love like character-driven stories, I absolutely love this one as well. There is a sequel in the same world called Lady Hotspur, but that is set like many years later, I think, and we just have, I think, like 1 character that is in both of these books. So really just a standalone if you want it to be. Next up, this one is very popular, but I still want to shout it out again, and that is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. Again, with this one we do have at least 1 prequel. I think there is more, but you can read this one as a standalone. The story is completely contained in that 1 book. And The Priory of the Orange Tree is a lot more action-packed. It is still a very long book, but I think a lot more is going on, and you're following multiple characters. The world is very different, very fleshed out, and basically we do have kind of 2 sides of the world, and they differ in the way they view dragons. While the Western world sees dragons as big destroyers, the Eastern world knows different kinds of dragons, and they actually have a very deep bond to kind of like water-based dragons, while they also see the more fire-based dragons as something dangerous to their world. And we do again have a lot of like political machinations. A lot is going on between these characters, and now the cat is here. I hope she doesn't turn off the mic. But yeah, the Priory of the Orange Tree is also very sapphic, and so I would definitely also recommend it if you're looking to broaden your reading in that regard. And it was just really fun. Like, I was always a little bit scared of this book, but it was way more fun than I thought it would be, just looking at the size and hearing other people talk about it. And last but not least, for the very big books, we have Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. This, again, is a very popular book, so I'm probably not the first person to tell you to read this one. Again, it was a book that I was kind of scared to read, but for no good reason at all. In this book, we have, again, a kind of historical England, and we have a world where there is people who research magic, but no one actually remembers how to do magic. And we see throughout the story the return of magicians with, first of all, Mr. Norrell, and then kind of as his pupil also Jonathan Strange. This also has to do a lot with like fairy lore, which I thought was very interesting, and just the kind of like more primal kind of magic you would expect from this historical folklore setting. And we also have the war with Napoleon that is thrown in this book, and there's just a lot going on again. This one also is a little bit more slow moving in the story as well, so you will have to bring a little bit of patience to the story, but it's absolutely worth it. A little bit on the shorter side, and the best book I have read so far this year is The Spear Cuts Through Water. This book is absolutely fantastic, but also very, very unique. So we have a frame story of a person who addresses you as you. So it is a second person narration, and this person has been told from their kind of like grandma a lot of like folklore and stories of the world where the family kind of comes from. So they do have a history of migration, it seems. And then this person is invited into this dream theater where they see a play about two warriors who are trying to save a goddess by carrying her through a falling empire. And it's just so lyrical, so beautiful. The themes that are explored in here are fantastic. We also have a very beautiful love story between those two warriors, and the beauty of that love story lies in the fact that both of them think they do not deserve this love. They do not deserve to find like their person, and it's just absolutely fantastic. So this, as I said, and I have gushed a lot about this recently, such a fantastic book. You need to pick it up. Now we're leaving behind the long books and we're going into some shorter standalones that I wanted to recommend to you. And the next two are more with a little bit of a horror touch, I would say. And the first one is Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher, one of my favorite books by this author. I think you can't go wrong with a T. Kingfisher book. At least I still haven't found one that I didn't like. But Nettle and Bone is kind of like the OG for me. It's the first book I read by her, and I absolutely love it still. Nettle and Bone is the story of a girl who wants to save her sister from an abusive marriage. And to do that, she goes to this kind of witch, and the witch tells her to complete 3 impossible tasks, and then she will help her. Now, the witch only wanted to be rid of that girl, and when she comes back and she has completed the impossible tasks, the witch is like, what the hell? And so now they are going on a mission together with a demon chicken and a bone dog and some other help as well to actually save the sister of this girl. And it is like a lot of shenanigans, but it also has this like fairy tale vibe, but it's very dark and still funny, as is like T. Kingfisher style. So I absolutely love it. And then I wanted to recommend Ring Shout. This is a more of a novella than a novel, so we're getting kind of short with the books, but something you can squeeze into your big fantasy reading at any time. And Ring Shout is very interesting to me because it has very much a Monster Hunter feeling. And I think Monster Hunter stories are always kind of fun. In this one, we are following a band of women who hunt I think they're called Ku Kluxes. So basically, the idea is that the Ku Klux Klan has been invaded by these monsters that kind of pretend to be members of the Ku Klux Klan, and they are up to no good. And so these black women, hunt down these monsters to save the world. And this gets very disturbing. If you look closely at the cover, you can see kind of that it gets kind of disturbing, but I still absolutely loved it. And as I said, I think the whole like monster hunting aspect of it is so fun, and it's also very creepy. And the last two recommendations are also on the short side, but they get a little bit more romantic. Now, you know, I'm not a big romance reader, so don't expect too much romance, but I think these were just very well done. And the first one is a bit of an odd one because it is Tooth and Claw. Now, this book is kind of Jane Austen's, but make them dragons, which sounds very weird, and if you read it, it is. So you basically have this like society feeling of Jane Austen, a lot of rules, how to dress, how to behave, what you can and can't do in fine society, but they are dragons. They are dragons. And they sometimes eat each other. And that's just all I'm gonna say, I guess. So I was mesmerized by this book last year. I really did. I thought I would like it, but the veracity with which I read this book was very unexpected. And I think like this is an older one, but definitely a good one, and something you will not find again. It's like a very unique story. And as I said, while you have this like kind of a Jane Austen-y feeling, the fact that they're dragons is very much like prevalent. It's not just like a little gimmick. These are dragons. And last but not least, for the fairy girlies, I have an Enchantment of Ravens. And this one, I don't really love fairy stories, so the fact that I have two in here that very heavily are based on like fairy lore is very interesting to me. But this is the first book I read from this author, and I really didn't have high expectations going into it. I got it from the library just to try it out because I do like to broaden my horizon, diversify my reading every once in a while. And so I was completely taken aback how much I loved this book. In this one, we follow a young woman who is an artist. She's very famous, and so one day this fairy prince comes to her and wants his portrait to be done by her. And so she does the portrait, but she does it in a way that it seems humiliating to him. And so he takes her away to the fairy realm to kind of make her explain that she made a mistake and that he's this like fierce and amazing fairy prince. And this is romantic, but I just really loved the world. I really loved the whole like feeling of the book. I think it was just really, really well done. And especially because I didn't have those like high expectations, I think this book had room to just surprise me, and I really enjoyed that experience. And with that, I hope I gave you like a wide range of different fantasy standalones that are not written by white men to try out, to broaden your horizons, to diversify your fantasy reading. Definitely let me know in the comments if you want to check any of these books out. I would love to hear about that. And also leave a like, that really helps me out. And I will talk to you very soon. Bye!